911, what is your emergency?
Units respond code 3 to a 1050 on the highway. Vehicles are blocking multiple
We're en route
lanes
to the
of travel.
hospital. Patient is currently having
We've got a
cardiac
4-alarm
arrest and has
fire
been
here.
intubated.
Send additional
Protesters are
trucks.
outside of City Hall and they are not complying with our
Out
orders
on
to
one. Hold the
disperse.
air.
In a rapidly changing world for first responders where it seems that every day the rules and norms are changing, there is one voice you can count on to give you the latest in emergency news. That is Lifeline. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Lifeline 911 Podcast with your host, Erica.
Hi.
I am your co-host, Gary, and today we are going to be discussing overcoming obstacles in putting in for a promotion. A lot of times at centers, there will be opportunities to promote, either from floor staff to some level of leadership or supervision, and those obstacles can feel stressful to people who have never done that before, but it may not always be the case that you're not as unprepared as you think you are.
Yep, I agree.
So what are some of the obstacles that people might run into if they're considering going for that promotion to like a leadership or supervisor role in an emergency communications center?
I would say I just go back to my own experience from a dispatcher, just a front line, considering promoting to what is our first level here, which is the lead, shift lead position. One of the things I had convinced myself was that I had to know everything, meaning I had to have the answer for everything, which is really, and now that I think back on it, it's unrealistic because no one has all of the answers. I think about from shift to shift, I bounce things off of you and we bounce things off of each other. I mean, it's rare that something technological you have to ask me about, which is almost never. But, you know, we work out things on the fly, but we use each other as a resource. And I think a lot of people, and maybe someone who's listening now would be thinking, I would like to one day apply or in the near future apply, but what stops them is they think that they are unqualified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that they don't have everything that you need. But
right.
I think it's a lot like with anything in life. You're not going to feel prepared for it until you do it.
Right.
Like, I've never had kids, but I have, friends and family that have had kids, and they, none of them felt ready for their first kid.
Agreed.
Or like if you go take a new job somewhere, like you're not going to really feel safe and comfortable in it until you've been doing it a while.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of magnified when you move up. So like trying to get a position of, leadership or supervision, it's even more concerning because you're like, I don't have all the answers and I'm going to look like an idiot if somebody asks me a question. And
that I don't know.
Yeah. But I can tell you, I look like an idiot very frequently, all the time, because there'll be people that come up and they'll have a question about something, and I'll either say, I don't know, let me check on that, or I'll, more often than not, if available, I'll go check with somebody who's a subject matter expert on the shift.
Yes.
Because you're just not going to have knowledge and experience on everything. You should have perhaps a cursory knowledge and understanding of what each work group is doing, but you're not going to be an expert in every field.
No. And, we have another episode that's coming up on leadership/supervision in an environment like this. And I don't want to give too much away, but I think that's one of the, I don't know, is it a hallmark of good leadership is knowing when to say, I don't know, and when to turn to someone else and say, you know what, you're the expert, I'm not, and then take that advice from them or take that knowledge from them and use it. So I think I would say to anybody that's thinking about it is, one, don't overthink it in that you're looking to have every single answer there is, because you're going to be waiting.
Yeah.
You're not going to have it.
You'll never be ready for it.
No.
If you don't. You can prepare yourself by like studying and, increasing your knowledge, and by also, learning about what every person does, so you can have like a well-rounded knowledge, but you're not going to feel confident until you actually do it.
I agree.
And if you do feel confident, then you're probably arrogant. and you might want to check yourself.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah, because any good leader, I think, is somebody, and I think you said this earlier, is somebody that's very teachable.
Yes.
Like, you have to be humble and willing to learn.
Yep.
And there will come a time when you have seen 99.9% of everything that's going to happen, so you don't even have to think about what you're going to do, and you're like, okay, this has happened, so I know I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And the occasions where you have to actually sit and go, what do I need to do in this moment will become fewer and further between.
I agree.
But that won't be how you start out.
Yes.
And being, humble enough to ask for help when you need it is very key. So if feeling unprepared is one of your stumbling blocks to going for promotion, just know that everyone at some point in their life before they got a promotion felt that way.
Absolutely. I agree.
And there's no shame in it.
No, and it is, I actually like the idea of someone, checking themselves and saying, do I have enough of what it takes? Or because it, like you said, if you are that person that thinks that you've got all of the answers and you know everything, you're going to carry that attitude with you into the promotion. And I can promise you, you will make no friends that way. Mm-hmm. And no one will trust you because you will be, especially in our center, because the first line of supervision, if you will, is the team lead. And that person is, I like to say 1 foot on the floor and 1 foot on the ladder, because you are still kind of in between the floor. You're sandwiched between two different things. You've got leadership of 2 levels above you and the floor that you just came from beneath you. So I think that's a good way. Actually, you know what? I think there are people that are worried about what their friends are going to think when they promote.
Sure, yeah, friends at work, because that will change your relationship with them.
Yeah. And that's what I mean about having 1 foot on the floor and 1 foot on the ladder, because you still have to interact with these people, but now you are interacting in a different way. Mm-hmm. And I've known people that have been fearful of promoting. They want to, but they are worried about how it's going to change their friendships and their relationship dynamic.
Yeah, and because you don't want to make decisions based on your personal feelings about somebody as a leader. You want to be very objective with that, because if you start to make decisions based on your personal inclinations, you're going to quickly lose the respect of the people that of your charges, as you put.
Yes.
So understand that if you do promote, that kind of the relationship you had with people will be different. Now, I have seen people promote, and they do stay friends with the people that they were friends with on the floor, and they have a mature relationship where they're like, I understand that I'm in a supervisory capacity right now, and I'm not me just being your friend.
Right.
And keeping that dynamic clear is very important.
I agree, and it's not as easy as it may sound.
No, and it doesn't sound easy.
It actually, I've had people say, well, that won't be a problem for me and my friends. And later I'm talking to them and they're like, it's a problem for me and my friends.
Yeah, it's certainly something to consider when promoting, because it's not even that you're going to change. It's the people that you're friends with are going to see you in a different light.
That's true. And
that's just, part of what you have to give up when you promote.
I agree. Yeah. Oh, that's a good way to put that. Mm-hmm. You're right. I think you do. I think you're right to say that the way that they see you will change, but I have to disagree just a little bit, because I think you actually do have to change.
Yeah.
I think you have to change, because you cannot stay the same person. There are the jokes you used to laugh at and tell when you're there on the floor that may or may not be against, HR policy.
Right.
Let's just go ahead and call it the dirty jokes, right?
Yeah.
As a lead or a supervisor, you may not be able to indulge in those jokes and laugh and
Right.
joke. And that is, you have to change your behavior. Your mindset does have to change a little bit.
No, yeah, I agree with that. And even if it's something that's not necessarily against the letter of the law, think about the kind of tone you want to put out,
Yeah.
when you promote, because people will react to that and respond to that and
Yeah.
feel that as, your level of comfort.
Yep.
So if you are considering promoting, do take into account that those, the friendships that you have with your coworkers, they're going to be in a different light. And it's, I think, really important to kind of talk with them when you do get promoted to say, hey, we're still friends, but while we're at work, I need to be, I'm in a leadership capacity.
Yep.
So I need you to help me and be very professional,
Yeah.
because I need to be professional.
And I'm fortunate enough that I've got at least 2 friends that we had the conversations when they knew that I was considering it. And then once they knew I was actually about to, pull the trigger, we had that conversation. And again, fortunate because they don't put me in positions where I have to make that choice. But it's unfortunate that not everybody is that way. I was just really lucky.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Like me, I just cut all my friends off and just abandoned
Wow.
them. And I'm like, I don't even
Wow.
want to talk to you people anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, that I think is really the best way to do it.
Okay. That's disturbing
Yeah.
on just a couple of levels.
Yeah. No, probably being a sociopath is not the best way to go
No.
forward with life. But
So,
yeah.
go ahead. I was going to say, so what do we have here? We have, you're not going to have all of the answers. Know that your relationships are going to change, but it's not all doom and gloom, right?
Right.
And what was the one in the middle? Let's see. You're teachable, and then know that your relationships are going to change. But would you say any of those is enough of a reason not to?
I mean, I think it depends. There's, if you're interested in promoting, kind of look inward and ask yourself, why do you want to promote?
Yeah.
If it's for the money or the power and the glory and the fame and the adoration, then I have to tell you that you're in a government job and none of those things are going to happen
Ain't
for
that
you.
the truth? No.
But if you have a real calling to lead, where you really want to see other people succeed and to learn and to grow and be okay with not being the hot shot or the person really good at your job, because you're now going to be in support of those people,
Right.
hopefully trying to make all of your team members, your charges, as best they can be.
Yeah, so because you have to know that you are now going to, like you said, in support of, and your goal is to create an environment where they can do the very best work that they can do. And if you are listening to us and you are a person who is considering that very first rung on the ladder of leadership, know that you are going to be in a constant state of training, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coaching and encouragement. And you'll do some correcting, yes. But I think the lead position here, I see it as the next level of a CTO in
Yeah.
that you are constantly, or at least you should be. My hope would be that you know that you're going to be the first line of defense against new people falling into bad habits.
Yeah, and and not even just new people, it can
Or
be very senior people.
Yeah.
But you as the first line of defense, your job is going to be as a leader to kind of make sure everybody is keeping their plates spinning correctly.
Yep.
Following SOPs and providing them instruction on how to do it better. Because
Yeah.
most of the time when people are performing poorly at their job, it's usually with a big old asterisk, not because they don't want to. It's because they don't have the know-how or the knowledge, or they lack some understanding.
Yeah.
And you as the leader need to get in there and show them this is the best way to do X and Y and Z. This is why. Help develop their thought process so
Right.
you don't have to hold their hand all the time, because you eventually want them to be independent.
Yes,
of
you're
you.
coaching them towards independence,
Yeah.
would you say?
Yeah, because you don't want them to be reliant on you.
No,
Well, what's the saying? If you catch a man to fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for his life.
it's true.
Yeah.
And you want to have that kind of relationship with them where you are not constantly holding their hand, but you are coaching them towards that independence to where now before too long, they're able to turn around and be that to someone else, even if they're not in a formal leadership position. But if you are coaching and instructing the right way, you will perpetuate that. I mean, some people will go, oh, okay, well, Gary told me this. And when they hear or see someone else doing it the way they used to, now they're confident to repeat what you gave them.
Yes, because if I tell you something, it's the right and the best way to do it, and don't even think about it.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is Gary. Wow.
But yeah, so you're going to, like, if you have previous experience as a trainer at your agency, then that is, I think, a good sort of introduction, sort of a tiptoe into what you're going to be doing a lot of the time. Probably, 50% of your job is going to be the training and the honing of the skills of the employees.
Yes, I agree.
So if that's something that appeals to you, then you may consider continuing with the process of applying to be a leader.
Yes.
But if you're just like, I don't want to, I want to chill out and not do any work, and like, I want to be a hot shot myself, then maybe going to a leadership role is not the right thing for you.
No, because I remember learning this, that when it comes to leadership, it's really kind of a upside down when you think about it, because a lot of people think about leadership as being they're on top and their charges / subordinates are underneath, and I like to turn that upside down to where I am now propping up the people that report to me. I am creating the environment that they can do the very best work that they can do. And it's not about me being at the top, and it's not about me being the boss. And if that's what you're looking for, I would dare say you're going to be very disappointed,
Oh, yeah.
because there's not a whole lot of fulfillment in just being the boss.
No.
Because with that comes a lot of responsibility. Let's not forget that with that leadership comes responsibilities. Your job title is going to not just be lead as in leader, but you're now responsible.
And held to a higher standard.
You are.
So you just want to really understand that if you're the type of person that gets a lot of your gratification from being in the spotlight, that kind of personal achievement, leadership may not be for you.
Yeah.
Because it's really about turning your focus to others so that they can succeed.
Well said.
And I think I've seen people that have promoted to lead thinking that, I was, really good as a call taker or really good as a dispatcher, so this is obviously the next step for me to, move into leadership. And that is not a good metric for promotion, for wanting to move up. It's, you have to have that desire, that je ne sais quoi, as the French say, to want to see others develop and succeed, and to help keep them on the path of the straight and narrow.
Well, and I would even say service.
Yes.
Be willing to be in a position of service or in a role of service, because it is that. I think it's that more than it's anything else. And if you are the kind of person that just wants to be able to look around and tell people what to do, I'm thinking leadership might not necessarily be the thing for you, because again, you're going to be very disappointed. You're not going to get the gratification you might think.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a really key component if you're thinking about promoting, is to take a moment to, as Michael Jackson says, look at the man in the mirror and see if you have the qualities that you want to see in a leader. Because you probably don't.
That's true.
Like, if you think back on all the bosses you've had, the ones that are like, I want to be the hot shot, I want to be the center of attention, it's all about me, 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 I'm going to bark orders and you're going to follow them. They're probably not your favorite bosses.
No.
Whereas if you think about the bosses, like, they're like down in the trenches with you, teaching you, helping you grow, helping you understand, guiding and mentoring you, those are the bosses that you're like, that that they're the ones that make me want to come to work.
Absolutely. Well said, Gary.
Thank you very much. You can go to my TED Talk on leadership. No, just
Wow.
kidding.
Maybe you ought to do that.
Oh, maybe we'll see. There's a principle known as the Peter Principle, kind of going along with that last topic of people are promoted to the level of their incompetence, which means that if you're really good at bagging groceries, you might get promoted to a cashier. And if you're really good at a cashier, you might get promoted to the front-end manager. And if then you're really bad as a front-end manager, you're going to stay a front-end manager for the rest of your career.
Nice.
And it tends to be the case that, especially in larger organizations, people are where they're at because they've stopped progressing. They stop progressing because they're not in the best suited role for them.
I agree.
And again,
Wow,
it
that's
comes
good.
Yeah, it comes back to being very self-aware of who you are, what you want, what your strengths are. Because
True.
if you're not really service oriented and focused on that, not only are you not going to be really a good leader, but you're also going to have a really difficult time doing your job and not have any fun doing it.
You're going to be very, very unhappy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kind of just, coming off of Telecommunicator Week, that was all about service to others. You can really, I think, get an appreciation for that. So, Erica, if the listener is thinking about, promoting, and they've taken a minute to examine themselves, look at themselves in the mirror and say, like, okay, I do have those qualities. I like helping others. I like training. I like teaching. I like guiding. It's not important that it always be about me. But they may be a little hesitant about, actually doing an interview or like filling out their, updating their resume. Like what are some of the tips and tricks that you've kind of gathered over your career that help out with interview techniques, such as like how do you prepare for them, or what are some of the ways in which you want to try and answer a question?
One of the most important things that I learned when it comes to doing an internal interview is do not interview as if you're interviewing with your friends.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people make that mistake when they do internal interviews. They know the people. A lot of times you know the people on the panel.
And a lot of times they don't like you.
Okay, that's one, that's one way to look at it, but that might be true too.
Yeah.
That might absolutely be true because you have no idea who's going to be on the panel. Mm-hmm. But that's a golden rule kind of thing,
Yep.
Treat people the way you'd like to be treated all the time so that if you ever find yourself sitting in front of them on an interview panel, you don't have too much to stress about.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
I would say the main thing is don't interview as if you are interviewing with your friends. Come to the interview very serious. Come as professional as you would for any other interview.
Yeah, like dress well.
Dress the part. Dress the
like
part
suit
you want.
and tie, or dress slacks. Whatever.
Yeah, something professional. Very what is it? Business casual, even maybe. No, probably a little more.
Yeah,
because business casual could be like jeans,
Yeah.
but you would definitely want to wear something professional. And if you have any questions about what that is, that's why God made Google.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can literally Google interview attire.
Yeah, I would say business formal at least, because
Is this formal?
Yeah,
That's a thing?
Yeah, so like that, like it's like a collared shirt buttoned up with a tie.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Ladies can wear like a pantsuit or a dress.
Yeah.
But just you're not, you want to look your best.
Right, and not bright colors.
Yeah.
A lot of times you want to,
don't come in with like, a bright neon orange jacket,
no,
or a gold lame jacket.
Yeah,
Who would
or,
do that?
like, and ladies, all kinds of things going on in your hair, and very, what is that, loud colored,
Yeah.
pumps and whatnot. So, hair up in a bun a lot of times, or just really neatly arranged, and your makeup is not loud like you go into the club.
Yeah, look professional.
Professional.
Yeah,
And if you have questions about that, God made Google images for a reason.
And I will say that dressing that way will make you feel better for the interview because you'll feel more confident.
That's true.
Because the way you dress, I don't know if we talked about it on the
We did.
podcast, but like the way you dress really affects how you perceive yourself in the world and how the world perceives you. But
very true.
like if you're coming in and cut off jeans and like a stained up Led Zeppelin t-shirt,
That's how you're going to come across.
yeah, and like you're going to feel much less confident. Okay, so dressing confidently is definitely one of the things you want to do. How about in terms of answering questions? Do you want to just like rapid fire an answer back, or do you want to like write down a whole dissertation before reading it back to them? Like where's the happy medium there?
I think the key is practice, practice, practice.
Sure. Yes.
If you've got friends, family, have them, maybe you guys can sit down and come up with what you think might be some interview questions, and you practice your answers so that they are second nature.
Yeah. And you can Google interview questions too.
You can.
Because I think that more than like having a canned answer for a question, it's being comfortable to answer a question that's asked of you in a formal setting.
Yes.
Because if we're just sitting around like the table having a cup of coffee talking, if I ask you a question, you're going to have a much different answer than if we're in an interview room and I'm sitting behind a desk asking you the same question.
Very true.
Even though you may not know what the question is going to be, you can still formulate a response better if you're comfortable and have like sort of experienced that. Because very few times do we in life are we put in that situation of being the interviewee.
That's true. So I agree 100%. You would have to, I say practice being in an interview. And I would even go so far as to say, especially if you know you are a nervous interviewer or an interviewee, then dress up, get ready as if you're going to do it, and do mock interviews with anyone that will give you the time of day.
Yeah.
Especially your immediate supervision or leadership. You'd be surprised at how willing they would be to help coach you along, give you some pointers.
Yeah, because they want to see you succeed, promote, because,
Yeah.
Eventually they're going to retire or die off.
Or both.
Yeah, and they're going to need somebody to fill those shoes.
Sure.
Why not you?
Yeah. And we want, I know as a supervisor, when I've had people come to me and say, hey, when do you think you guys are going to be doing the next lead interviews? Would you give me some pointers? What? Absolutely. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Any questions? I'm happy to fire off questions through emails, and randomly, I've walked up to people randomly and said, hey, here's a question, answer.
Yeah.
And catch them off guard.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that when you go into an interview, a lot of people are nervous about the questions that are being asked. But as someone who's done a number of interviews in my time here, what I'm looking for is not so much to put out gotcha questions to the interviewee.
No.
I want to ask questions that I'm looking to see how your mind works. Like is there a neuron that fires between the pair of ears that you have? That's all I'm looking for sometimes.
Awesome.
And just to show how you kind of work that out.
Yeah. Not having the absolute right answer. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for, can you take me from point A to point B in your answer and help me understand what your thought process is as you're answering the question.
Yeah. Is there some logic to what you're doing?
Yeah.
So especially with scenario-based questions, the interviewer may be looking at your knowledge of, your department's SOPs and policies and procedures.
Yeah.
But they also want to see how you apply those.
Right.
Because it's not in the mundane that, I want to have a good lead or, a supervisor, a leadership person. It's what do you do when something out of the norm happens?
Yes.
How do you get through that as a human being?
Yeah. And that comes out in your answers.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you realize it or not, it absolutely does come out in your answers. And I think some people focus so much on trying to give a polished answer that they forget to actually answer the question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Don't do that.
You have to actually answer the question, and don't attempt to don't act like you know more than you know.
No, you know,
Just
again,
be really
humble.
honest.
Yeah.
Be honest and be humble. And if you are, I don't know if you should be ready to say, I don't know what to do in that situation, but you should be able to say, well, I've never experienced that, but if I found myself in that situation, I would like to think I would do this, or, say something.
Yeah.
But don't BS your way. Don't try to do that because you can tell.
Yeah. And I mean, it's perfectly fine to say I would check with, a subject matter expert who's on duty to see what their
Supervisor
thought
or
process. Yeah.
whatever.
I do that all the time.
All the time.
So, yeah, it's very important to be honest and open with your answers.
Yeah.
And kind of one last thing that I want to say about interviewing. Think of it, how do I want to put this? A little bit like, it's kind of like dating in a way. And what I mean by that is that, it's not all about the interview panel liking you. You're also offering a lot to them.
That's true.
By, your service, your knowledge, your hard work,
Yep.
your ethics. So don't feel like you are just at a complete disadvantage, Oliver Twist over here. Please, sir, can I have some more? You're giving to the
That's
organization that you're part of.
That's true.
Just as much as they are giving to you.
That's true.
So go into that interview with that knowledge that you're equals. I mean, you're all people.
Right.
Like, just because there's three of them sitting behind a table, well, there's one of you sitting behind the table on the other end, and they have to equally impress you to want to take the
I
job.
agree. That is well said, because a lot of times when you're in that, you're sitting on that side of the interview, you feel like you are, yeah, exactly. You're just, please pick me, rather than, hey, I have something you want, or else we wouldn't both be sitting here.
Yeah, and you must feel like you've got something that they want,
Yeah.
or you wouldn't have put in for the job.
True. And here's the thing, they want to be wowed.
Yeah,
They're hoping that they have, if there's 5 positions, they want 15 of the best possible candidates that are just making that decision so hard.
exactly.
They want that.
Yeah.
So they're hoping that you come in there and cause them to go, good God, how are we going to choose?
Yeah,
That's amazing. So Gary's right. You have something that they want. They want your time. They want your expertise. They want your talent. And matter of fact, they already have it to some degree, because this is an internal interview. So they already know that you have the goods, if you will. I would just say make sure that you remember that you have the goods.
yeah, because you're offering a lot of value for
Yeah.
for what they're giving you in return as well.
Yep.
And if it works out and both parties agree to it, then it's mutually beneficial.
Agreed.
And so don't feel like you're at a terrible disadvantage. And I think that if you can keep that in your mind, that will zip your confidence way up from what it normally is. Because a lot of times people are like, I don't interview well, I feel very nervous, so that's why I don't want to apply. But if you can kind of keep that at the forefront of your mind, it'll make you a little bit more relaxed, I think.
It's a conversation. You're just, both of you, if you will, both sides of the conversation are coming together to see if we can agree on you taking this role. That's really what it is.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for joining us for Overcoming Obstacles and putting in for that promotion. I'm Gary.
I'm Erica.
And from all of us at Lifeline 911 Podcast, which I guess is just us two, we thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us at lifeline911podcast@gmail.com. Until next time, everyone, stay safe.
Thank you for watching our production of Lifeline 911 Podcast. If you have any questions about the topics we discussed today, or if there's something specific you'd like us to cover in a future episode, send us your questions at lifeline911podcast@gmail.com. Stay safe out there. Until next time, this is Lifeline 911 signing off.